No.
Without glass I can't see anything.
But it's so small, it's written so small.
No, with glasses I can.
It's not
But without glasses.
easy.
It's really small.
This is a bigger diagram about how people doing, and so on. Doing is also is about acting.
Okay.
But relations, this was the idea, this guy make all times relation between some things. So
But then keep this one, because you wanted to speak about this one. No?
I can't read it.
Wow.
To describe which kind of analyzing he and I making in the last 20, 30 years about understanding in language how you understand words. And it starts with here. These words are verben. Verb means doing. Doing in any way. For example, when you use brauchen, it means to use, to help, to keep quiet, to get it, to give somebody. So, and this relation to each have its points. And here it means doing as a social constellation, doing as a social term, doing as a Verhaltens, also doing as a transformation, as a micro story, doing as a typological phenomenon of doing, Verhaltensweisen. It is mit B fängt das an.
Behavior.
Behavior, yeah, behavior, and doing is a channel of doings, as a relation of terms and so on. So it is to define the different kind of use to look to a term. For example, in HANDELN, HANDELN, as a HANDELN, to start to understand from where it's coming, the etymological thing. And why, so for example, when I speak about handeln, Leute thinking, I buy some things, ne? And you give it, I told you there, ne? But it's starting from the basic things of hand. Mm-hmm. Hand, it means I take some things. Ne? So the take, I lay down. I start a fight with him. Handeln in German. Wir haben ein Handeln. But to buy and to sell. Yes, you give me 20 euro, you get mine, or you give me a euro, and I give you this.
Yes, like in Flemish.
So, at this moment, have one basic term, have different kind of use and different kind of own history. And own history means the own way to develop some terms. The same as I can do it with performance. When perform coming from the Greek, Roman. I mean perform, it means to bring some things in form. And this was mostly based in 300 before Christ. In this time when the term was founded in Latin, it means I want to ask somebody, but I can speak really. So this man, this person in the old Latin can write down in good form, and then you can take it to go somebody says, I want to have this. So to make a good form for ask some things. And that is perform. So the term starting there and going then into French, performare. And dort means good done, well done. Me not more. And then coming to England, and in the 12th century, when a priest or some politician make a speech, people say, oh, it was a nice speech, or they say, it was a performance. It means this speech was very exciting for the people, was very strong. And so developed some terms in the time, from the old Latin till, for example, 1952, when somebody came, an American linguist, he said, performance, how people do things with words. And this was a step to go, this term performance in culture. Before, people use the performance too, but it means to do some things. For example, when I ask the old Fluxus people, they said, oh, I perform my piece. What means this? Perform means I do some things, and my piece has a Fluxus art piece. So this difference was changed 1952. So in this moment, when you do something, is the performance as a culture action. So it is coming from doing to Handlung. And that is analyzing this, in which way, which word, which term, going which way, anthropological view, theological view, also theology, spiritual view, ritual view. So in this moment, this kind of diagrams are doing with my friend in the context, verb, doing in context. That's we are doing since 20 years, 30 years. We're analyzing a lot of culture terms about the context in the history. And this is so the basic of Vedant. I can't do this, but we discuss a lot together. But he is writing, and then a half year later I get this. So not people thinking I do this. I'm not able to make this. But he is his job. He have to do informal, formal phenomena and for electric and to make all the context where the electric going from this house to this house to this house. So he have to make this. So he do it as a job, but he has so much interesting in art, so he make it in the art. No.
It would be nice to ask students to memorize.
Ja, hier wird so, for example, machen, gaming, the complex of speaking, the view of performativity, and the view of mediality, political way. So Handeln is performativity to political. So he makes his change here. So tätigen, tun, hantieren, verrichten. Oh, these verbs I don't know in English. But it's, you start from tätig, then handeln, also tun, and so on. So it is what I told you all is more is a structure defined here. That is a political way, that is a cultural way, that is doing in different ways in relation, and that is handeln in different ways in relation. 1995, I had a big question, and this was very important. I asked so many people, can you tell me, you speak about performance, what do you mean? And what doing people, they told me fairy tales. I was all the time saying, no. That could be not. This is your your personal things. Then, but I said, what can I do for this? And then I found that I said, okay, the archive has some orders, and some order is in this to generate knowledge. So when this archive should be function, generate knowledge so people can use it, make information inside in all these different boxes to make this usable. And then I said, okay, how I do it? And then I was searching, and said, the definition of performance. I have 160 different definition. It means this theorist use this definition, this theorist use this. So, and I could not say this is right or alright or a failure or something. So it exists in different ways. This country looks in this way, this country and this language looks in this and this. So how I can bring it in a context, people can read and say, aha, Ireland use these terms in Ireland for performance art. And then I took out from the archive all these terms and so on, and that it needs a kind of context, diagrammatic. How to do this? I don't know it. Then I was very early in the computer. I was in the internet, 1996, 97. I was on the internet and was looking to this semiotic. And then I found a man, he's writing about culture in context. And then I get in contact with him, that sent him a letter. I want to invite you, I pay you this travel to come to Cologne, I have your archive, and it needs context to make the archive more usable. And he was a nice guy and said, yes, I come, I'm also interested in such a thing, come. And I show him the archive, but it was small as here. And he was looking, hearing, looking, and then after some hours he said, okay, I help you. Not a 6. It was really my best friend now. And then we start, how we doing? Eh? Then we was working 6 years and doing not this one, but this, and this bigger one about performance art. We make it this, and many people in the world have now this one, so people can see, aha, when you have the performance art, looking from psychological phenomenon, this performance art is working with this theorist working, or have made a text about it, so you can find a really an open structure to go in and to learn. And then he make more and more this one. And also one about atmosphere. This was really great, the same big one, atmosphere, and it means in this moment how you can make a context about emotion in performance art. So this is the situation till now, what we want to make context of all the sorts exist in a field of performance. So he gave me all times when I said, I was working with HANDELN and make the first texts, and I wrote him the texts and gave some books, information about books and so on. Then, so half year later, 1 year later, I get a small diagram about HANDELN or about cooperation. So I have a lot of terms which are very important in the performance art scene to get it from this Gerhard Dürrmoser. This is what we mean. Who's able, as a present from the archive to people want to know some things.
Is it important for you as artists how you define performing, or is it just more like a feeling and you're just doing it?
I think in the middle. I think balance. Like I hate to open all the doors of my thought and to get into really deep into my thoughts. But for sure you have to know what you're doing in some way, you have to control it. So I think in the between, because if you get too much into, then you get too more far, then you're basically like a doctor of art. So yeah, I think in between both of the things, you know what you're doing, but at the same time you also get, I don't know, you also feel your instinct way and you're trying to do with instinct, I believe.
From where comes this question by you? From where?
From where? I hope here, actually. Or maybe here.
It comes one way or another. I would say that surprisingly, it comes this question, what people are doing, like organizer. As an organizer, I organize something that I call performance art event. But yes, for different people, it might mean something else. Yes. Sometimes I think that it's not fair that so many other forms of arts are kind of taking from performance, taking because of fashion, because of discovering this new territory, like choreography, dance choreography. Yeah, choreographers are calling themselves suddenly performers, and they take the space, the resources, you know, from people who are really busy with performance. But what it means, really busy with performance, then you need some kind of vocabulary to be able to talk about it. Is it all our activities performance? Because yeah, you can. Then we have this performing arts. That's why, you know, it's like on the stage. I would say performing arts for me is something that is more.
It's the same parallel doing with images. It was an exhibition in Bonn some years ago,
Do you want to see?
and the collection of about images from the newspaper, and I have written to many performance artists, sent me images from laying, sitting, standing, walking, what people doing and how. And that was an interesting point. People looking, people lying. But when you look from image to image, and you have so many images, you see, in this moment you start to look to the difference. And the difference is very important. For example, in performance, for me, one of the biggest problems, people say, don't repeat. To live is a repeat of other living. So you have to repeat, but you have to see only how you do it. This repeating is completely different to the other repeating. People laying, you can see, it's sleeping, but it's, you don't know how, what is going on, and then you take care of the surrounding. It's a bed, or it's on the street, or so the same. I do it in images. I do this 40 years to collect images to show the different, to understand the perception, to be aware of each image in a different way. Each image is different. So it is.
But with the images as well, you know, there's also the relationship between each other. So it really depends on what do you put in relation to another. So every time it becomes a different way of looking onto a certain movement.
Yeah.
If you put it in a different relation.
But you know, repetition can be even inside of one work. This is also true. Because like multiplication in printmaking, you know, it looks like the same matrix. How do you call it? This,
yeah, matrix.
It's the same, but still every print is different. With errors coming there, for example, you know, it's already different.
But at the same time, when you look the same and the different, to define history. When you see, this is Abi, for example, no? He defines some things about one special image going 2,000 years through all cultures. And it means the same. But all times it's a little bit different. Huh? And what is this? But you see a history also. And this history is more interesting than the political history. Say, this kingdom is this, and this kingdom, and this war was important, and this. So it is coming from the human being and all this relation together. This.
And for me, to come back to your question, Sandra, the difficulty, like to this morning when I said the word to share, it has a different meaning for you.
Yeah.
Like I would do this gesture for share, you do this.
Mm-hmm.
And you prefer this than this.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot, also when I was studying theater, some teacher was saying, I'm doing the exact opposite of the method of the other teacher. So now I'm asking you to take this way in order to act this character. And I decide I take the way of the other teacher, but in that lesson. And then the teacher told me, yes, that's exactly what I asked you to do. So I thought, but I could feel, because first I had to fight with these methods. It doesn't suit me, actually, because it was very psychological. And but so I thought, okay, but then two methods can go to the same state, or I don't know, concentration, and so that, and I trust more what I feel than the word, because I think when I do, I can feel if I do what I like, who I am, and like what I want to do or not. And sometimes to speak about it bring a lot of misunderstanding. But to do less. When people, I think, when people see me performing, they understand a lot better than when I speak about it. So I trust more that to share that, and it's very difficult for me to speak and to write about my work.
I think it was Pasolini that says that when an idea came out from the head, it's lose something. And I think that this is what you're saying. Like if you just trying to explain too much what you have in your head, then in some way the aura disappears.
I wouldn't disagree. Because as long it is in your head, it didn't leave.
Yeah.
This is the concept, this is the idea. Right away it's going out. For example, if you make notes, it's already process of the form, or giving form.
Yes.
So of course it's not, this is like spirit to put into body. So maybe it's not losing something, maybe it's losing freedom, but I think it's just starting to be in a way concrete. That's what maybe what it is, because there is still it's a paradox, because it's bigger inside, but it's inside, nobody will see it, and doesn't matter if it exists or not. Usually it is utopic, because it doesn't have any borders.
And also when the idea just in your mind and you didn't give a form to it yet, even if it's a form with words or with action or painting or anything, it's like it's still in the belly of the mummy. It doesn't exist yet, because then it had to fight a bit with the reality to find the real form. we all have great idea, but then it doesn't work when we try.
Yeah.
But maybe, you know, again, our ego, maybe it's not great, yeah? Like maybe it's only for us, sounds so great.
But the idea need to get maturate, something to process, to find the existence.
Yeah.
I like this accidents because I like that.
Me too.
Usually it's better than.
Yes, that's why life is interesting. If it's like we thought, it's just boring because we know it already.
Yeah. True.
Very philosophical meeting.
Oh, my brother is philosopher.
Okay,
so he's laughing at me that don't even try. You are artist. It's maybe like also this the fashion that the artist and science. Yes, like so many now use this. I make research. I make science. I talked to Stellar and he said that we need artists who are dealing with science. But I tell you honestly, that artists are very bad scientists, and usually scientists are not the best artists. That's why we need each other. And I think it's something it is there. Yeah, that's why we have different. We tend to do different things.
But in moment, the discussion about art, science and art, or artist science, is a big discussion at the moment.
Yeah.
And I have a wonderful book. When you want, can I show you this?
Yeah.
So as information, no?
Yes.
Artists and scientists can feed each other.
Yes, because like he says that we have this ability to see from different angle or to you know.
Yes.
You know it?
But I haven't read it yet.
Maybe 20, 30 different persons, a philosopher, an art historian and so on, writing about facts, how artists use scientists or scientists use art, and what you have to take care of between all this. That's really.
And the like science and art, and the artists often have a totally different freedom of think about science and use the science like scientists. So actually I think it's very interesting, the connection between them. And like in Cologne, he is a scientist, he's an artist, and he just mix it up. He has a knowledge about growing and how plants are actually getting together, and he makes art out of it. But without his knowledge as a scientist, he probably wouldn't develop this kind of art. And like my father, he's dealing with science. He's not a scientist at all, but he says, I use the freedom as I have as an artist to create other things, or take the science and to just create something new, or something where scientists can't really think about or talk about, because it's just a different way.
To able to see from
Yeah,
because of the freedom that you don't. You are not stuck with real the scientific knowledge, so maybe it's easier to suddenly to find. Because that's how science is found. Like I think till maybe not in this century, but before it is almost like by accident. I think that most of the artists are trying, like 99% is failure, is error, and then suddenly it comes from this unexpected moment.
Yeah, and there are really connection in the process with the artist when you this maturate a project as an artist, and as a scientist when you are maturate research. My sister, she's a researcher in mathematics. Not engineer, theoretical mathematics, and we have the same, like she's stuck in this, and then she go on her bike or have a bath or I don't know, and then bing, oh yes, and I think for us it's the same sometimes. When you stay in your atelier, it doesn't work, and then I think there are similar things in the way of. Because we have the same brain, more or less.
But I don't agree about the freedom of artists. I think a lot of artists don't have any freedom.
No, I said that.
So, also in the way of thinking, they're very closed-minded. it's about the ego. I think this makes a lot of people very narrow in that sense of how to approach as well a certain topic or a certain material, for instance, you know, how to learn to see things from other perspectives, but they see it from a certain perspective. So I don't agree completely about the freedom, that's all.
But to live, we have to recognize patterns, yes? And of course, after a certain time, you recognize the patterns and you have experience, you know that it works for you that way. This is normal behaving, how we learn to live. So of course, you are less and less flexible because you have this experience. The pattern worked for you. I know that I'm not able to open completely.
And there's a difference for not using the freedom and having the freedom, because actually, I mean, they have the freedom, but then if they're so narrow, they just don't use the freedom they could have, right?
I have a problem with the term freedom as well. I'm sorry.
No, it's more. I said like you are more free if in certain situation you are more free if you are more free to find new unexpected way if you have less knowledge maybe about it. It's easier to jump out of the box if the walls of the box are not too high. This maybe I don't know. This is just again we use terms that are so loaded with meanings like freedom is stories, but you are maybe it's easier to work. It's like with the budget I said today. It's maybe easier to work if you don't have pressure for big budget. If you have not pressure of the knowledge how you should do things. If somebody is teaching you how you should do, of course it's more difficult to find your own way.
I think also artists can be a bit like autistic people. They can have very specific interest. I'm passionate about this red, and I don't see this orange and this blue. I even don't see it because I'm so much in this, you know.
Yes.
And it can be, and so we're a bit close-minded. Of course, you don't want to do something with this way. No, I'm totally not interested. It's just because you will go deeper and deeper in this research with this red. That's your life, maybe. Why not?
But this is also another, that's not only for artists, I think. We have where we mean turning Fachidiot, like that's not only, I think, artists. In every area branch you have people who are just so focused in their own, they can't see left and right. And I mean, it can be a good thing as well, but it can be also bad because you're losing, missing things that coming by.
But to come back to the term handeln and in combination with freedom, I always thought it. Now, what is this freedom of Handlung or to act?
I think, for my opinion, in this handeln, I never want to take the word freedom. But freedom is, somebody said, you can ask freedom only in one way, freedom of. Where you can say, okay, I have now freedom from this country, I don't live anymore there. Then they live in Germany in freedom. The Germans said, I'm in freedom, nothing here. No? So freedom of, that I can understand the term in this relation. But in handeln, it is free, not freedom, free of this question to freedom. But so many things. I have strong days with the archive or things, no? Or in my life, strong things to go, and have so many problems. No? But the problems was not really problem, but I saw some things more in the future, in the next time, to develop something. Then I end, now I have it, you say. That's, so in this moment, it's not a question of freedom or to be free, it's to do it.
Yeah, it's wrong term, I said, I correct myself, freedom is wrong term. It's just wanted to say like more freedom is in term of that maybe it is easier to, if you don't have this, but of course I do not believe in such situation. If you are part of social life, I'm not free, of course. What means freedom? Freedom of my freedom is your, we all the time negotiate our or free space. Yes? In Finland more than here. So in Finland is more visible because you need these 2 meters of distance, like in Corona time. Yeah? Now you know how it is in Finland, because they need 2 meters always. In bus stop, you will see that people are standing 2 meters of each other. Like there is a lot of pictures before Corona. That is perfect. 1.5, 2 meters. But in this, I just completely agree that that artists are, and maybe that's what this diagrams shows me most is this. Not variety. How do you say this?
Vast.
Yeah, but how do you call it? That is so many different. Is the in English, diversity of how it can be act or understood what medium you are using on spoken word, or like that's your medium more, or you are completely focused, quiet, and just the gesture, or maybe not gesture, just the being in illuminating, like Piotrowski says.
Does focus also mean that the action is clear, or what does it mean if an action is clear, or are there situations where actions don't have to be clear? Or because earlier when you were saying telling about 2 months of experimental work, you said students, or not the students but the people, sometimes you had the experience that the works were so loaded and they were probably going loaded with personal, loaded with memories and whatever. So what does it mean if an action is clear, and how, and Tomasz also adding to that yesterday, you said sometimes your students, they think so much and you tell them do. So is this or in this way? So something you said like this. So what has it has? What is the clarity, or what is the dizziness? Or
It's to Boris or to Tomasz?
First,
to anyone. I don't know. Maybe first Boris. Or whatever. I don't know. It's 2 different things. Then I was then 2 questions. Okay.
To be clear, it was a process of learning. When I was young and done performance or anything, I done many things I done, and it was okay, but not only okay, and some things was unclear, and then so I stood there and said, what's happened? What I told also, I produce any different things on something, and then I the first start to learn what is clear is how people used language. I was really fucked up how mostly men use language to put me down. And I do the same sometimes with women or in any case. So I feel it was unclear.
Yes.
And how to learn to be free of this, or to put this away to be more clear. Then I start to read Wittgenstein. 1 book of Wittgenstein I read 1 year, repeated to
Which
read.
one? Which one? The earlier one?
Yeah. No, not the later
28,
one.
28, it was published.
Yeah, this.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. This book 1 year, I said, take care of your language, take care of what you say and how you say it. So, and I start to understand language more, to use language, and in this moment, people was not able to put me down anymore. It's the same with one performance. I had done one performance 1989, the first time, and I said this. I had the feeling the basic of this is good, but how I do it, what I this, and then I repeat this performance about 20 years, 40 times. And in the end, I couldn't say now. It was before a round diamond, now it is shaped. and it was clear enough. I feel it here, and at the same time I learned this and so on, and that's what I mean clear. Before I say some things, I try to think about it and to understand the other. All this coming in, that okay, now the words I take and how I can describe some things, or the sentence is good for this, not more. Don't say, many people say one sentence more, and then it's broken all. So all this to understand, it means more clear, or clear.
The interesting thing is because yesterday we also talked about language and also about poetry and how poetry needs a certain, the words have a certain relationship to each other, and when you change it, the atmosphere or the sound completely changes. And I think it's also relating to this, because how to shape a word, or a sentence, it's really it's a mastership in that sense, you know.
And you know this wonderful book from Butler, Hate Speech. This is a book.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to read it, that take care of what you say. Sometimes people use language and they use the hate speech, but they don't know it. And that is to clear up yourself, what you're doing, what is this? That's what I mean, you know more and more what you're doing, what you say, how you use things. That's mean it's clear, to be clear, to try to have more
clarity.
Yeah.
So probably it is overlapping, but it's much narrower. That's why I think it's two different questions. I ask my students to not that we stop thinking references and message. Just leave it for yourself. We are not going to do on this course or this workshop. We are not talking what we want to do and why. I mean, in sense of message, because now it's not only that it takes everything in what I observe, you know, in the new generation, because it's already influenced by the social media, that you need to clearly put what it is about, that everybody will understand the simple, usually political nowadays message, but it's become so simple that we don't need any act anymore. It's just enough to just write it, and it's a lot of calculation in it. A lot of calculation to be accepted to the group, or to even to get the support.
The like.
Yes. So the likes, but I mean support like to from institutions. Slogans, a lot of slogans that are washed loaded too much with meanings and then washed off the meanings in the same time. So I asked them, you know, this is the input. So it's exactly going with this reaction. Don't react now. These 3 weeks we will spend of doing things and thinking how to do more than what to do. So that's what I tell them. But like, forget the message, the references, the dropping the names.
And forgot, this was for me very important, my development of performance. Give up any what I want. I have no right to want some things. I'm there. And then do something. Then you will see what's coming out. And so it was coming more and more simple, more and more clear. All the performances, that was.
So nice. Yeah, I have this idea that I don't have to understand everything. I don't have to, and also others, they don't have to understand. For me, or because I have to tell you that when I couldn't speak any language in Finland, no English, no Finnish, I was dreaming when it will be the moment that I could say a joke and people could understand me. You know, like it was years that I just couldn't communicate. Even with my partner, I had to put my fingers, I told you, to the dictionary. It was very performative to show the whole sentence in dictionary because we couldn't understand each other. That's how we were communicating. It was very hard and took a long time. Now she's so disappointed because she's like when she discovered who am I.
I just wanted to ask, are you still together?
Only because it took so long time. But the thing is that that then suddenly when I was dreaming about to be understood, suddenly I understood that no, it's not there anymore. This willing that I would be understood is not important for me anymore. The meeting and interacting is more important than to be understood. So yeah, I'm not maybe so clear because it's not. I like to be even surprised. That's why I ask to act with me because I'm happy to see where it goes.
Last question. Could be anything.
You ask or we ask?
I'm here.
We can ask one last question.
I'm not here.
So the question is, do you think that you can lose a part of the pureness of your thought, of your action, if you act instead of react? Because I feel like reaction, as you say, is more an animal instinct. Like I kick you in the face and you have a reaction instead of acting. So you can control your human action. But in some way, if you control it, you can lose something. Do you think you can lose something if you can control it, the reaction? I don't know if
I think it's possible to learn it, don't react. Really. When I got something from some person and it's wounded me, I don't react, and I think, from where he coming to say, or this person come to say this to me? And then I have to think, done I a mistake? Have done I some things before? And so on. And when this is clear, nothing, then can this moment all emotion is back. I'm under control, not under control from emotions, sondern under control from thinking. And then I can ask, what is happening? Can we speak? And that is the action. To start to be constructive, construction, communication, to understand something, and to clear up some problems. That's is a very simple way. This.
so it should be trained.
Yeah, it is trained. Yeah. But I was when I was there, very impulsive. Yeah. It's and then I know how many mistakes I done, misunderstanding the other person. She was in reaction, but I misunderstood it too, and come the next reaction, and all the reaction coming some. It's good to wait to see. Or many times when I come shit things in email, I write shortly back. I give you answer tomorrow. Then I have time in the bed to think about it.
But the question was, do you lose something?
You can lose something, but if you train, then you can control it, the reaction, and have an action.
Do you mean like this intuition, animalistic intuition? You mean that?
Yeah, I mean the pureness of what you do. The reaction in itself has something pure because it's just something immediate. You don't have any other thoughts in your heads. In your head, you don't have any other.
But it might be immediate decision. You know, like we need different times to make decisions. If you do a lot, you need shorter and shorter time to make right decisions.
And we have to change also to understand reaction and another movement, body movement. You can't say it's the same. When I walk and some trees here, I make a kind of reaction. Don't go on this or to take care. Oh, spring from the trees. It is not a reaction.
Yeah.
It is this way of fast body safe movement is not reaction. That is good to have it. No? It's also good to train this. No?
Yeah.
I think you lose something if you if there is something and you just say to you don't react. But if you stay with just that and you don't act, then you lose something. You lose your spontaneity. You are not spontaneous. But because you just keep.
Yeah.
But I think your idea it's not just to keep, it's to listen to what you feel, but then to transform it and to be conscious of the way you will do something from what you receive. So, and for example, if you look at a child who can be very spontaneous, a child, because of the brain is not mature, they can have this they can be very angry and react very strongly. But sometimes you can also, if you look at them to play, or they, in French we say they are ancrés, like they have the, you know, a boat. Put something under. They have, you can feel sometime when they play or when they draw, or like they know what they're doing on the moment. It's not a reaction, but it's spontaneous in a way. But it's a spontaneity with something, and something that.
Grounded.
Grounded, yes, grounded, exactly. It's a spontaneity grounded. I think this quality of action is action. It's not a reaction and it's spontaneous at the same time.
I would even go further. They can be very difficult for us. Like for example, in the play, they take some kind of rules. They build this situation ramp. Like saying, you know, like this is my kitchen. There is nothing. This is it. And then all the group will play accordingly. That like it would be there. It's much more difficult for us adults than for kids. So in a way, you know, this I think they are very conscious. This is the soup, yes? No, we know that this is the sound. And songs, you know, this is the soup. My daughter is asking me to eat it, and then she's angry if she sees that I'm throwing it away. But she is not. She will be not angry if I will play that I eat and throw away.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the. Yeah, we agree that this is the soup. We both know that this is not, but still.
Thank you. Thank you.